Welcome to the video lecture. Today's topic is the drying. So, in the name indicates itself, drying means it is the process of removal of small amount of liquid by the application of heat to obtain dry solid or solid product. In drying, generally sample will be solid only. So in that solid, from whatever the sample we were having in the solid phase, from that only we were going to remove the small amount of the liquid. That too, how we were going to remove in the sense by the application of the heat. So this meaning only will be formed in the form of a definition. Drying is the process of removal of small amount of liquid by application of heat to obtain dry solid or solid product. Here we were telling removal of small amount of liquid. If it is removal of large amount of liquid means we will be calling it as a evaporation. So another thing here the liquid may be in the water, otherwise volatile liquid mixture, otherwise normal moisture. So again we will see the definition of the drying. Drying is the process of removal of small amount of liquid and that may be in the form of water or volatile liquid or moisture by the application of heat to obtain dry solid or solid product. Then, in general, drying process will be involved in the two steps, two operations. What is in the sense? One is the heat transfer and another one is the mass transfer. From the definition itself, we can get that here we were going to remove the moisture by the application of the heat. Right. So, in the removal of moisture, any product is having moisture in it means it will be having more weight. And whenever that moisture got eliminated from that product means it will be having the less weight. So, it will reflects in the mass transfer means weight changes here is occurring. And then heat transfer. How heat transfer is occurring in the sense as a heat source we were supplying the as a energy source we were supplying the heat. So from the source of the heat it is transferring to the solid product to eliminate the whatever the water molecules or a moisture present in that sample to eliminate it. Thereby here heat transfer also will be occurring. So in general drying process it will be involved in the heat transfer and mass transfer. Then drying and evaporation are relatively same term but are distinguished in terms of the removal of water. Then that only I was telling. If the removal of the moisture or water in the smaller quantities means we will be calling it as a drying. Whenever we will be removing the same water or moisture from the substance or a sample means in the large quantities means we will be calling it as a evaporation. Here are some differences between the drying and evaporation. We will see further. So, what is the differences between that drying and evaporation means? In drying process, the main operation usually carried out on a solid materials, examples, powders or products. Then in evaporation, the process will be usually carried out by the materials. For that examples, solutions or the products. Means in the drying process, the samples will be in the solid form. In the evaporation products, in the evaporation process, sample may be solution or will be the products. Means liquid or the solids. Then coming to the another difference in most of the cases means removal of relatively smaller quantities from the solids. In the evaporation, removal of large amounts of water from the solutions. Means here in the drying, elimination of small amounts of water. In evaporation, elimination of large amounts of the water. And then drying involves in the removal of water at temperature below its boiling point. Because here we were going to eliminate, here we no need to boil. If we apply the some amount of heat itself, it's enough. There will be elimination of that moisture present in the solid will be happened. And in the evaporation, removal of the water by boiling a solution will be happening. Why? In the sense, here from the solution we need to remove the another amount of the another liquid. From the liquid phase we need to remove the another liquid phase. So that's why here removal of the water or the moisture by the boiling a solution. And then in a drying, water is usually removed by circulating air over the material in order to carry away the water vapor. While in evaporation, water is removed from the material as pure water vapor mixed with the other gases. Means in the drying process, here we were supplying the how we will be going to remove the moisture from that solid. In the sense, we will circulate the steam through that product. Thereby, that the steam will penetrates into the that solid that will. Traps the whatever the moisture present in the solid and it will take out of that solid. So that's what in drying, water is usually removed by circulating over the material in order to carry away the water vapor. And in evaporation, how we will be doing? In the sense, by boiling only we will be doing. Thereby, by boiling, the liquid phase will be converted into the gaseous phase because of that phase transition. This water vapor will be another mixed with the another gases and then it will be eliminated to the outside. So these are the main differences between the drying and evaporation. So in the drying, the sample will be in the solid materials. In evaporation, it may be solution or a products. In a drying, the most of the cases will be removal of a small amount of the moisture from the solid. Whenever coming to the evaporation, removal of the large amounts of the water from the solution. Then drying, removal of water can be done at below the boiling points only. In evaporation, will be happening at the boiling point. By boiling the solution only, we will be transforming its liquid state into the gaseous state, which will be changing. In the drying, water is usually removed by the circulating air over the material in order to carry away the water vapor. While in evaporation, water is removed from the material as pure as water vapor mixed with the other gases. So these are the main differences between the drying and evaporation. Then applications of the drying. How in what and all cases we will apply this means we can use this drying process in the sense preservation of drug products, preservation of preparation of the bulk products, improves handling, improved characteristics, to reduction in the transport cost, purification of the crystalline products, prevention of the corrosion. So in all these cases we will be using this drying. Then this preservation of drugs we will see. Drying is necessary in order to avoid deterioration or destruction. A few examples are that whatever drugs preservation where we will be applying drying in the sense blood products, tissues undergo microbial growth, effervescent tablets, and then synthetic and semi-synthetic drugs undergo chemical decomposition. In all this preservation of drugs we will be doing this. And then preparation of bulk products, that drying is the final stage of the processing. Example is the dried aluminum hydroxide, and then sprayed dried lactose and then powder extracts. Then improved characteristics. Drying produce materials of spherical and uniform free flowing and enhanced solubility. Then granules are dried to improve the fluidity and compression characteristics. These are essential for production of the tablets and capsules. Then viscous and sticky materials are not free flowing. Drying modifies these characteristics. The removal of moisture makes the material less in weight and reduces the bulk. Then the cost of transportation will be less and storage will be efficient. If moisture is present, size reduction of drugs is difficult. Drying reduces the moisture content. Then coming to the factors affecting the rate of drying. So what are the factors which will affect the rate of drying in the sense particle size, nature of material, moisture nature. That moisture nature will be bound or unbound form, surface area, initial and final moisture content, thickness of material bed, temperature, amount of moisture, nature of product. First of all, we will be seeing the particle size. If the particle size is less means there will be more surface area, hence rate of drying will be more. Then nature of material means nature of product also will be the same. What is mean by this in the sense? There will be two types of nature of materials. One will be hygroscopic in nature, another one will be non-hygroscopic in nature. In that hygroscopic nature, what in the sense the materials which will absorb the moisture from the atmospheric air, that only you will be calling it as a hygroscopic materials. Whenever coming to that non-hygroscopic one, whatever the molecules or whatever the products which won't absorb the moisture from the atmospheric air. So that only, if in a drying process what we were going to do, removal of the moisture from the solid, right? So if it is hygroscopic in nature means the rate of drying will be difficult. Whenever coming to the non-hygroscopic one, rate of drying will be easy. Then nature of moisture, based on nature of material, rate of drying will differ, and then nature of moisture also rate of drying will be differ. How the nature of moisture will be present in the sense, two forms it will be present. Will be present in the bound form or unbound form. Bound form means it will be present more, and it is present in a tightly packed. Whenever coming to the unbound form, this type of moisture will easily escape from the solid sample. So bound sample, bound moisture is present means rate of drying will be less. Bound moisture mostly will be present in the hygroscopic materials. Unbound will be present in the non-hygroscopic materials. So in the unbound moisture is present in the sense rate of drying will be more. Then coming to the surface area, as it is related to the particle size. Smaller the particle size, more surface area will be there. Then rate of drying will be more. Surface area is more means rate of drying will be more because it has more surface to escape the moisture from the solid. So that's why, means surface area is directly proportional to the drying rate. And then initial and the final moisture content. Initial moisture content means initially moisture content will be more, finally moisture content will be lesser. If a moisture content is there only, rate of drying rate will be more, right? Final moisture content means whatever after I eliminated all the moisture from the sample only we will be telling. No moisture is there means where it will be rate of drying will be there. So initial moisture content will be there, more means is there means rate of drying rate will be more. Whenever coming to the final moisture content, rate of drying will be less. And then thickness of the bed material, if it is a thickness is getting more means a rate of drying also will be getting less. Thickness of material bed will be less means the rate of drying will be more, because here by increasing the thickness drying rate will become lesser, because it is having too many layers. So to escape the water molecule, it need to flow, it need to pass through the too many layers, so it will be difficult. That's why rate of drying will be less in the case of thickness of a material bed. And then temperature, if temperature is more means rate of drying will be more, means directly proportional. Why? In the sense by the application of the heat only we will be doing the drying process. Hence if it is more supplying of a heat is there means rate of drying also will be more. And then amount of moisture, how much amount of moisture is there only rate of drying will be there, means more moisture content more rate of drying, less moisture content less rate of drying. So these are the factors which will affect the rate of drying. One is the particle size, nature of material, nature of moisture, surface area, initial and final moisture content, thickness of the material bed, temperature, amount of moisture, and then nature of the product. Then coming to the theory of the drying. In wet solid mass, water may be present in two forms. That one we have seen in the factors itself, right? Factors affecting rate of drying, nature of moisture, right? It will be in the bound form and unbound form. What is meant by that bound water? In the sense, it is the minimum water held by the material that exerts an equilibrium vapor pressure less than the pure water at the same temperature. Means whatever the moisture present in the solid, if it exerts the vapor pressure less than the pure water at the same temperature, means then it will be calling as a bound water. If it is equal to the pure water vapor pressure, means then you will be calling as a unbound water. It is the amount of water held by the material that exerts an equilibrium vapor pressure equal to that of the pure water at the same temperature. Then you will be calling as a unbound water. Then coming to that, unbound water exists largely in voids of solid. Thus, in non-hygroscopic material, all the liquid is unbound water. Unbound water exist means it will be present largely in the voids of the solid. Thus, in non-hygroscopic material of the liquid in the unbound water. Then, hygroscopic materials, water present in fine capillaries, cell and fiber walls. Then cell physical interaction. It will contain bound water. How the condition will be in the sense, vapor pressure of wet solid is less than the vapor pressure of the pure water. Then non-hygroscopic material, water in solid spaces contains unbound water. The condition will be vapor pressure of wet solid is equal to the vapor pressure of pure water. It will be present. Then theory of drying can be discussed under the two headings, that is the equilibrium relationship and the rate relationship. We will see one by one. Equilibrium relationship. Air of constant humidity and temperature is passed over material. After long exposure, equilibrium is reached. Equilibrium, air of constant humidity and temperature is passed over wet material. After long exposure to equilibrium is reached. Then equilibrium moisture content. It is the amount of water which exerts vapor pressure equal to the vapor pressure of atmosphere surrounding it. Means in the equilibrium relationship, whatever the humidity and temperature of whatever the atmospheric air over passing the wet material, after long exposure it will reach its equilibrium. What is meant by equilibrium moisture content? In the sense, amount of water which exerts vapor pressure equal to the vapor pressure of atmosphere. When it got whatever the moisture present in that sample, the exerts vapor pressure exactly equal to the atmospheric vapor pressure. That moisture content only you will be calling as a equilibrium moisture content. Then based on the conditions of the temperature and humidity, solid will either lose or absorb the moisture. Why? In the sense, it will lose or absorb the moisture means, to obtain the equilibrium moisture content, it will either lose or absorb. If it loses the water molecule, otherwise loses the moisture from the substance to reach the equilibrium moisture content, means you will be calling desorption, because it is losing, right? Losing its moisture, right? So then you will be to that too, it is for reaching the it's a equilibrium moisture content, then you will be calling it as a desorption. Then whenever the solid sample absorbs the water molecule or moisture from the passed over air from to it reaches its equilibrium moisture content, then that phenomenon you will be calling as a sorption. Then coming to the moisture in solid is greater than the equilibrium moisture content, that one you will be calling as a desorption, means loses water. Whenever moisture in the solid is less than the EMC, then sorption will be happening, that is the gain of the water. Then free moisture content, what is meant by free moisture content? Means it is the amount of water that is free to evaporate from the solid, means which can easily evaporate from the solid to reach the equilibrium moisture content, that only you will be calling as a free moisture content. So free moisture content, how you will be getting in the sense, from the total moisture content minus equilibrium moisture content, means you will be getting the free moisture content. So this is the diagrammatic representation of our equilibrium. Then rate relationships. The drying process will be greatly explained by this rate relationship only. So rate relationship is observed by considering a simple model which mimics the conditions of the dryer. In this model, wet slab of solid is considered and hot humid air is passed over it. The change in the weight is determined by weighing the slab at different time interval, and following calculations are made. Again, we will see rate relationship is observed by considering a simple model which mimics the conditions of a dryer. In this model, wet slab of solid is considered and hot humid air is passed over it. The change in the weight is determined by weighing the slab at different time interval, and following calculations are made. Then, so what and all calculations we will be drying we will be involved in the drying process, means percentage loss on drying, means percentage LOD. How much means what, in the sense on the drying process, if you did the drying, means how much it got eliminated, that only LOD is equal to mass of water in sample divided by total mass of wet sample into 100, and then percentage moisture content, mass of water in sample divided by mass of the dry sample into 100, and then drying rate, weight of a water in the sample divided by time into weight of the dry solid into 100. Thereby you will be getting the how much percentage loss happened on drying, and how much percentage loss happened moisture content happened on the drying process. And then from the data obtained by the experiment is a graph is plotted by taking the moisture content on the x-axis and the drying rate on the y-axis. Like this type of curve only you will be calling it as a drying rate curve. As you see in this picture, this moisture content will be present on the x-axis, and drying rate will be present in the y-axis. Then coming to this inside of the graph, initially how it will be starting, in the sense initial adjustment period only it will be starting, means in this initial adjustment period, the time corresponding to AB is the initial adjustment period. During this period the solids will observe the temperature or increases, means here the solid, whatever the sample is getting ready, whether it need to reaches its EMC, whether it need to absorb moisture or loses its moisture. The for that only this is the initial adjustment period, means if to reach, if the solid is not at the EMC level, to reach it EMC, if it is having more moisture, means it will lose. That one you will be calling as a desorption. And then from the moisture to reach the EMC, it will absorb the moisture, that one you will be calling as a sorption. That's sorption and desorption of the sample, that initial adjustment of the sample, for that it will be happening from this A to B point, that only you will be calling as the initial adjustment period. Then B and C is the constant rate period, means after the sample reaching the equilibrium moisture content, what will be happening, in the sense this equilibrium reached, moisture content reached one will be going for the constant rate period, means whatever the amount is present in the sample will be need to eliminate that only. Here at this time here it will be continuously losing its moisture content, so that's why constant rate period you will be calling. And then another thing, critical moisture content and the first falling period. After the constant rate period, sudden fall in the drying rate, that only you will be calling as a first falling period. That one is from the C to D point. In this first falling period, after the constant rate period, it will be linearly decrease. Why? In the sense here the amount of moisture getting eliminated, so that's why here the first falling period will be happening at the point where first falling period happening only critical moisture content. Then after that D, again second falling will be happening, that only you will be calling as a second falling rate period. Then at the time where the second falling rate period will be happening, that only you will be calling as a second critical moisture content point. Then this after that second falling rate period, it will be reaches its equilibrium moisture content. Then finally the product get dried. So this is the rate relationship of the sample. So initially it will get initially adjust at the time moisture is to evaporate, and this tends to cool the drying the solid. And then sometime the temperature stabilizes. This temperature is equal to the wet bulb temperature of the drying in the air and is referred to the point B. So this and all only rate relationship between the we explained the dryers how it will work. Whatever the equipment used for the drying process will all follow this as a mechanism. And then the curves may have different shapes for a different elimination of moisture. In if the drying is carried above the level of the constant rate period occurs. Then equations for a drying period. How what and all equations in the sense. Drying process involves in the both heat transfer and the mass transfer operations. It can be understood more easily if the film of the liquid at the surface of the metal being dried. Then coming to the equations of the drying theory. The rate of evaporation of this film formed to the heat transfer by the following equation. So mainly for the heat transfer, what is the driving force in the sense? Temperature difference. So dW by d theta is equal to Q by lambda. Then what is that dW by d theta in the sense rate of evaporation of a water per hour, and Q is the overall heat transfer, and lambda is the latent heat of vaporization of the water. The rate of diffusion of moisture content from the stream is expressed by similar mass transfer where driving force is humidity difference. The rate of equation is given as a dW by d theta is equal to K dash A into Hs minus Hg, where K dash is the coefficient of the mass transfer. It won't be any constant. It will varies according to the velocity of a passing air stream. And then A is the area of a evaporating surface, and H is the humidity. H is the absolute humidity at a evaporating surface, and Hg is the absolute humidity is the in the passing air stream. And then the coefficient of the mass transfer K dash is a non-constant. K dash is not constant. The relationship is in the form of K dash is equal to Cg power n, where C is the proportionality constant, G is the rate of flow of air, and n is the fractional exponent, usually about 0.8 whole square. After an initial adjustment period, the rate of evaporation is equal to the rate of diffusion of water and the rate of heat transfer. So dW by d theta is equal to Q by lambda is equal to K dash A into Hs minus Hg. That is the equation 4.